Meet the Vacay Dream Team. They don't just show up, they dive right in. And at the piano bar, they raise the bar. Because when they're on Carnival, they're the main event.
Hello, and welcome back to Funnelheads. My name's Andrew, and today we have the full ship tour of the newly renovated, straight out of dry dock, Carnival Valor, which we are currently on as I'm recording this. Now let's go over some of the specs of the ship before we get into all of the interior features. Of course, this ship debuted new in 2004, weighs approximately 110,000 gross tons. At double occupancy, she features 2,980 guests. She is 952 feet in length, 13 passenger decks, and like I said, went through a $100 million dry dock, which was completed in June of 2025. Now, throughout the Carnival Valor, she does have a theme. Of course, she's a Freedom class ship, and with the name of Carnival Valor, the theme is heroes and heroism. So all of the different theaters on board, as well as venues, are all going to be themed off of that. Now, one quick note is if you're looking for the updates on the Carnival Valor, we did do a video on this as well. We went through all of, the renovated areas, so I'll link that video in the description box. Of course, in the coming days and weeks, we will be dropping all of our family vlogs, as well as so much more in regards to this ship. So if you like this kind of cruise content, consider subscribing, liking the video, sharing it out into the world. We appreciate it, and it really helps us, but let's get right into this ship tour. Now, there's no better place to start than in the main atrium of the Carnival Valor on Deck 3 lobby. This has a very classic Carnival feel. You've got the, gliding glass elevators. Of course, you have a main bar in this area that does serve coffees as well. It also features a dance floor as well as a little stage for live music. They'll also have, different types of dance classes as well as stretching classes and so much more in this area. Now, going outside on either port or starboard side, you do have some nice decking space that you can perhaps walk. Now, it doesn't go all the way around, but it's a great area to clear your mind, take some pictures or videos, of the family and friends. There is also a smoking area out there as well. Of course, guest services is located off of the main atrium, so if you have any issues, need a question, help with anything, that's where you're gonna go. You'll also have the Adventures desk, which is basically the shore excursion desk on board, if you need to buy tickets, get refunded, all that good stuff. And they also added a dream studio, which is basically like a pay for your own private photographer. It is very pricey. We've done it twice actually over the years, and the pictures are incredible. There's just no going into it that it is going to be very pricey. Now, all the way forward on Deck 3, you have the Ivanhoe Theatre, which it has this kind of castle night theme going on, really unique. It actually spans 3 decks on this ship, and we're gonna, basically explore those 3 right now. It's a massive theater. We never had any issues finding a seat. Now, there are definitely better seats than some, so you might want to get there early to secure one of those better seats if there's a show that you really want to see, but like I said, there's never an issue finding a seat. Now, you can see many different shows in this theater, of course, including Broadway style, playlist productions, variety acts like juggling, comedy, and so much more. Now, back off of the main atrium, you do have the first main dining room on board. This one is the Lincoln Dining Room, named after the president, of course. This is actually where we ate most of our meals. This restaurant does span 2 decks, which you'll see later in the video, but we ate on both of them. It just depended on, when our table request went in and what table they could accommodate us. But a very pretty, unique restaurant, as you can see. Now, right before the Lincoln Dining Room, you have the Betsy Ross Room to your right. This is where Chef's Table is going to be. A very unique experience, very limited. The master chef, basically comes up with, small sample dishes, and it's a really cool experience. Across from the Betsy Ross room, you have the John Paul Jones room. This is where a lot of the art gallery is going to be. Now, they do auctions a lot of times in the nightclub, which we'll show you later, but this is kind of their main office. Now, all the way after the ship, you have the other main restaurant. This is going to be the Washington dining room, named after George Washington, and this is going to be for your assigned seating. So if you pick early seating or late seating, this is where, you know, you would have your meals at assigned times. Now, at night during dinner and breakfast, the chandeliers above are all lit, and it is really beautiful. Another super unique dining room. Of course, this ship was all designed by Fred Farkash, the main architect for Carnival Cruise Lines back then. Now, moving up to deck 4, same area. This is going to be the Washington dining room from one deck above, and I absolutely love this beautiful piece of art. I'm pretty sure it represents an eagle, and what better fitting than having an eagle, you know, right outside of the Washington dining room. Now, continuing forward on deck 4, you have the Winston's Bar venue. This is where karaoke is held a lot of times. I believe back in the day, this was the cigar lounge. At least it used to be on different ships. Of course, they got rid of the cigar lounge, but another very unique looking room. Of course, they have a full bar here. Absolutely love the different, ship models that are laid out, as well as all of the different, ship themed items in this venue. Continuing forward on deck 4, you do have a staircase that will bump you up to deck 5 if you're looking for easy access to the casino. But in this area, you also have Club 02, which is going to be the place for teenagers 15 to 17, a great meetup spot for them to get to know each other and do some activities. Moving forward, again on deck 4, you do have the second level of the Lincoln Dining Room, which I mentioned we would visit earlier in the video. And then right outside of the Lincoln Dining Room, you have Circle C, which is an area for your 12 to 15-year-olds. Same concept, though. Outside of Circle C, you have the Pixels photo gallery. On board this ship, they physically have to print all the photos, and then you just kind of sort through them, find your photos, and see which ones you want to buy and discard. They also have the Pixels photo desk here. Of course, you can buy different souvenirs, as well as like GoPros and things like that. You can also get your loyalty, pins and gifts here as well. Unfortunately, that's going to be changing soon, but up until June of next year, you can still get them. Another beautiful shot of the Atrium from deck 4. Now, wrapping around the Atrium in deck 4, you do have the Wall of Moments. So if you're featured on that wall, your photo is free, so definitely take a look at it here and there. They do still have the library on board, which we were very surprised that they didn't turn this into something else. It's a nice room, though, for games, whether you bring them or, borrow the ones that Carnival has. They also have books that they've, had, as well as, guests that are finishing books and leaving them behind for others to enjoy. Very peaceful room. You can even do some work here if you, work remotely or whatnot. Now, outside the Ivanhoe Theatre on this deck, there is a section of all the different, gifts that Carnival Valor received from the different destinations it's been. Now, continuing up to deck 5, Promenade deck, this is probably going to be where you are most of the time on this ship, at least when you're inside of the ship. Like I said, this is the Promenade deck, so you can expect a lot of different shops, including hip fish accessories, your liquor and tobacco store. Of course, you have your fun shops located here as well, which we absolutely love. Collecting the ship models from every Carnival ship that we've been on, or every ship in general. But they also have so much more in here. Outside of the fun shop, you have the Heroes Tribute Sports Bar. This used to be the Skybox Bar, I believe, and they transformed it. A great area honoring, those past and present military men and women. A very awesome look to it. We ended up watching, the Stanley Cup Finals, Edmonton versus Florida, where Florida ended up beating Edmonton 4 games to 2, I believe, and it was a great experience. Back outside near the Atrium, we do have the casino off this area, which we will get to in a second. But first, we have a few more stores that we're going to go into, including Cherry on Top, Rhett's favorite store, our son. Of course, they have, gummies, chocolates, different small souvenirs in here. So if you got a sweet tooth, this store can handle that. On the opposite side of Cherry on Top, you do have several other stores, including, like different bags, jewelry, watches, and so much more. Now off this area, like I said, you do have the casino, which was newly revamped, newer machines, different layout, fresh rug, so it does look absolutely brand new. Great area. We never had a problem getting drinks, whether it was from runners or the bar, which they kept the bar in this area, which we were really appreciative of. We did have some luck here the first couple of days, and then unfortunately our luck ran out. We still are on the ship though, so maybe our luck will turn a little bit. The only thing, the negative I would say about this casino is it is smoking and non-smoking. You have the one side that's smoking, the other side's non-smoking. Unfortunately, all of the table games, I believe, are on the smoking side or very, very close to the smoking side. So if you're gonna play table games, unfortunately, you gotta kind of get used to that smoke. But plenty of different slot machines, plenty of tables. You could always, find a spot to play, which was always really, really good. So hopefully you guys have a little bit more luck than we did, but a great venue. Now this area of the casino is called Kings Boulevard. This is basically your walk through from Promenade, the Atrium area. So, if you have kids or, you just don't want to walk directly through the casino, you do have a path there. It's lined with tons of furniture. Of course, a live stage with music, which we loved having, be a part of the casino. And then a massive bar right there. So if you need anything to drink, they can hook you up. Plenty of bartenders. So it got busy, but it was never a problem getting a drink. Maybe a couple-minute wait, but it was no big deal whatsoever. Continuing down Promenade, you do have the Adventure Store, a very small store, but they do have some really cool items if you're looking for like a sun shirt or a new water bottle, Yeti, or even some spray fans. Rhett has one and he absolutely loves it. Continuing moving aft on Promenade, you do have the Java Blue Cafe as well. So if you're looking for specialty coffee or little pastries, this is your area. Now you can get coffee at several places, including the Casino Bar as well as the Atrium Bar, and even a few other places that we'll talk about later in the video. So if that line is long, you might want to check out some other coffee places. Off of Promenade, you do have the Red Frog Pub, a great bar area. They do live music in here as well, typically a band, but they do switch artists around the ship as well. Tons of different table games. We really enjoyed going in there with Little Man, playing Connect 4, the shuffleboard. They have cornhole as well as a few other games. So a great time to just listen to some music, have some drinks, play some games, and just relax. Continuing moving backward on Deck 5 Promenade, you do have lots more furniture, and those are actually the stairs that I pointed out earlier. That's where they kind of pop up if you want to go from Deck 4 to Deck 5. You do also have the Warehouse Arcade off the Promenade area. It's a massive arcade, lots of like claw machines and like kind of random luck machines, but there's a good variety in here as well. Now this arcade does feature ticket machines, so you can collect tickets to win, certain prizes. Unfortunately, none of the prizes were any good to save up for, but it's something that you can redeem if you're playing in the arcade a lot. They do have also arcade packages that you can buy on board that helps you save a little bit of money. Unfortunately, the arcade is super expensive, but if you have, kids, or if you're into the arcade, then you can, basically buy a package, save a little bit of money, and get, more free games basically out of it. Next to the Warehouse Arcade, you have the One Small Step Club, which of course is named after Neil Armstrong, his famous line. It's got a moon-themed area. It's very, very unique, definitely dated, but I think that's some of the charm. Of course, you've got like the moon footprints all over, the tables and as well as the floor. So a massive dance club. Of course, on our cruise, it was a 15-day transatlantic, so the crowd was a little bit different. The nightclub was never very busy, but it's always a good time just to pop in, especially if you hear a song that you really enjoy. Now, off of the dance floor, there's actually these mirrors that I'm pointing out right now. Those mirrors are actually on the opposite side. Back in the day, you could actually see through those mirrors, so just a little fun fact. Outside of the dance club, you have the Alchemy Bar. Alchemy Bar was absolutely packed this cruise, always a great time with great conversation and some of the best drinks on board. Next to Alchemy, you do have the Piano Bar on board. We had Gustavo, which we've had him before on the Carnival Venecia. He is incredible, super talented, super funny. It was basically like a comedy show, as well as, great singing and just a great experience, belting tunes and having fun, having some drinks. So loved our time in the Piano Bar with Gustavo. Now behind the Piano Bar, you do have the top of the Washington dining room, but next to that you have the Eagles Lounge, all eagle themed. They've got like different eagle statues everywhere and tables, and this is basically where your comedy is going to be on board, both PG comedy as well as adult rated comedy. They also use this room for karaoke and different activities as well, but mainly comedy. Next to the Eagles Lounge, you have the Paris Hot venue. I don't know what to call it, maybe bar or stage area. They didn't use this area at all during their cruise, so I'm not really sure what it was used back in the day. If somebody knows, let me know in the comment section below. But they did do a couple of private events in here, but that was about it. It's a very small room. Now continuing up to deck 7, all the way forward or the front of the ship, is going to be what I like to call the secret area. Now this is on several decks, I believe 7, 8, 9, and 10, but don't quote me. This is going to be all the areas basically in one little video here, but it's an area where there's not a lot of people that go out here. Not a lot of people know about it, in all honesty. It's closed a lot of times because of weather, wind, and all that good stuff. So best time to go is when it's really calm seas, or if the ship is docked. Usually it's open, but you can get some amazing views, sunset, sunrise, great pictures, great spot to just clear your mind, and it's one of my favorite areas on board any ship. Now, not all Carnival ships have these areas, so that's one thing to note. So when a ship has it, definitely take advantage of it. It's really just awesome. Now moving up to deck 9, you have the main Lido deck. This is going to be probably where you're going to be a lot of time if you're, outside of the ship, trying to get some sun, of course. You've got your towel stand right here, so if you needed a towel or exchange a towel, you get that there. You've got Blue Iguana Tequila Bar, which has, all of your tequila-based drinks. Of course, you can get other drinks there as well, but that's what they specialize in. You've got some great game tables if you're into like cards, dominoes, things like that. And then our favorite spot to eat is actually behind these bars. You get some great, views of your destinations and surroundings. Now, next to Blue Iguana Cantina, which we'll talk about in a second, you do have the ice cream and frozen yogurt stand, and there's one on the opposite side as well. But Blue Iguana Cantina is right here. This is where you can get some great, tacos, burritos, taco salad. They also have a, toppings bar for all your hot sauces, cilantro, sour cream, avocado, all that good stuff. So definitely a great spot for some food. Of course, it's all free. You got some different shots of the main pool, which I heard it was replaced during dry dock, which was really cool. Next to the main pool, you do have the Red Frog Rum Bar. Of course, they specialize in, rum drinks, but of course you can get any drink there as well. Next to Red Frog Rum, you have Guy's Burger, which is always a staple on Carnival cruise ships. Of course, you can get, pick a, burger, or you can just kind of get your own cheeseburger. They have a toppings bar as well, loaded up with all the different sauces, toppings, chili, jalapenos, hot peppers, onions, all that good stuff. They have it all. Now, on each side where you enter the main Lido area, you do have two hot tubs, which were unfortunately, occupied by kids mostly, but there are two hot tubs up in Serenity, so you can use those as well. Now, this is the biggest change on the entire ship, and that is going to be a brand new water park area. 2 slides, went down them both. A lot of fun. Little man absolutely loved them. They also included a splash area with 2 smaller toddler slides, as well as the dump bucket. Now, moving inside the ship again, all the way forward at deck 11, you have the Cloud 9 Spa. Of course, this area consists of an Elements store and a salon. They also reworked a lot of the area, of course, transforming it into Cloud 9 Spa. This is just an example of the locker room on board. Plenty of showers, which, if you do have a lot of people in your cabin, one of the great areas to, use the restroom as well as shower is the spa. It's always very clean, and usually no one's ever using them. So if you're traveling with like siblings or lots of friends, that's always, definitely a plus. Of course, you do have the steam room as well as the sauna room off of the spa area as well. Now, outside of the Cloud 9 Spa, you do have the gym on board, which is located all the way forward. I actually really love this location. Love when the cruise gyms are all the way to the front of the ship. It gives you beautiful views while you work out. It's not the biggest gym in the world, but it does have all of the necessary machines to work out. Treadmills, bikes, ellipticals, free weights, machines, all of that good stuff. Moving up to deck 12, all the way forward, you have Camp Ocean, which Little Man absolutely loves. Of course, this is absolutely free during the day and a small charge at night. If you want to know a little bit more about Camp Ocean, I've done videos on it, so I'll try to put that in the description box as well. Now, outside of Camp Ocean on 12, you have the start of Serenity, which includes a bar as well as loungers. And then continuing one deck up on deck 14, of course, they skipped deck 13 on Carnival Cruise Lines, but it's the continuation of Serenity. You do have showers here, as well as 2 hot tubs located on either side of the ship. Of course, comfy loungers, and just a great spot to read, nap, catch some sun, and just enjoy the area without kids, because it is an adults-only area. On the opposite side of deck 14, you do have where the slide entrances are. Of course, this is the yellow twister slide, and the blue, Rhett calls it the blueberry slide, so I'm just going to go with that. I don't know the exact name, but both of them are very fun. I believe you have to be 42 inches tall to ride either one of them. Now back on deck 9, you do have the Grand Buffet, Rosie's Restaurant. On one side, you do have the Deli area, which in the morning transitions to Omelet Station. On the other side, you do have the Sushi Bar, which also in the morning transitions to an Omelet Station. Of course, you can have breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the buffet. Everything is free in this area besides the sushi. Of course, all the drinks that you see are absolutely free as well. They do have a very convenient coffee bar located in the buffet, so if you want a quick drink on the go and Java Blue Cafe is busy, this is a great option as well. Now moving up from the buffet, you have deck 10, kind of midship, but more towards the aft. You do have the barbecue place on board. This is open for lunch. We never tried like an actual meal at the barbecue place, or at least haven't thus far, maybe another sea day or whatnot. But we did have the mac and cheese here, which was very, very good. We had got a lot of that. Also located on deck 10 is going to be Scarlet's Steakhouse. Now, I was surprised that they didn't rebrand this to Fahrenheit 555. Not that it's a huge change, but typically when a ship comes out of dry dock, they do rebrand everything to try to keep it the same. They didn't on this ship. We have not done the specialty steakhouse. I don't think we will either. We ended up doing the specialty steakhouse on Royal, so I had my steak fix in for the last couple of weeks, I believe. So, and then of course we got steak during the Diamond lunch as well. But a beautiful venue. Of course, there's a bar in here as well, and it's just very pretty looking. Now continuing on deck 9 all the way aft, you do have the adults only pool. Now this whole area is not adults only, just the pool and the hot tubs, which is very nice. Of course, it does have a retractable roof. If the weather's no good, you can still enjoy that space. On one side, you do have the pizza place on board. They make fresh pizzas ready for you in about 5 minutes per pizza, and they were very, very delicious. On the other side, you do have Seafood Shack. This is an a la carte, meaning you basically, pick what you want and then pay for each dish. We love the, shrimp by the pound, the lobster roll, oysters, all of that good stuff. Now this is one of our favorite places to eat on board. It's all the way aft behind the adults only pool. Beautiful views of everything around you. Of course, there is a very large bar near this pool as well, so if you're lounging for the day, want to get some drinks or drinks on the go. Now moving up the steps from 9 to 10, you just have the aft area, a large decking area. This is actually where the retractable roof will go back and forth there. Just beautiful sights, and I had to absolutely get, that aft view. That's one of my favorite shots to get on every single cruise, and the sun kind of glowing through those clouds really made it. Now we're moving forward on deck 10. Of course, you got a shot of the whale tail here. On one side of the ship, you do have a smoking section on deck 10, so if you're a smoker, this is where you would go. The casino, or there's a place off the lobby that I showed you earlier in the video. Another great shot of the main Lido pool, as well as Seaside Theater. During our cruise, they have played several different movies, some kids movies, some adult movies. For example, it was like Daddy's Home, Moana 2, as well as Gladiator 2. Moving up one more deck to deck 11. Again, we're still aft of the ship. As you can see, the retractable roof is now open in the adults only area. Beautiful day here in Spain, and this is where they actually moved the mini golf to. From my understanding, the mini golf used to be around the whale tail, and now it's kind of behind it. Looks brand new, very large, so very nice. We haven't played yet. It's been very, very windy, so we do want to get up there at some point when the wind calms down, because Rhett loves him some mini golf. Of course, around mini golf, you do have that elevator that's brand new. That's like an ADA compliant feature that takes you from deck 10 to deck 11, so that way everyone can enjoy, this area. Of course, the jogging track wraps around this entire area, so if you're looking to, go on a walk or run or sightsee, you can absolutely do that. You do have Sports Square that's located in here, which is basically your basketball court on half of one side, and on the other, which you'll see in a second, is going to be the pickleball court. They were actually in progress of making some type of elevator to get up to this area as well. It wasn't finished during dry dock, and they're still doing some construction and paint and stuff like that. Now they do have that pickleball court that I mentioned on the one side. It's not regulation size, but still, if you like pickleball, it's nice. Now finishing off this ship tour, of course, we got to end at the funnel. I mean, we are named Funnelheads after all, so I feel like we had to. But that is the full ship tour for the brand new Carnival Valor, straight out of dry dock from June 2025. If you have any questions in regards to anything, about this ship, another cruise line, or whatever, just leave it in the comment section below. Of course, I did this video, while we were on vacation, so I'd really appreciate it if you just like the video. Of course, if you want more cruise content, and you like these types of videos, consider subscribing. We appreciate it. You can also share it with family and friends and all that good stuff. So, but thank you so much for the continued support. Hopefully we'll see you right back here in the next video, or on a cruise ship one day. Catch you later.
I woke up with the sun today, rolled out of bed and said, I'm gonna have some fun today, and that's just what I did. The birds were singing, come outside, I felt giddy like a kid. If life is like a swimming pool, I'm jumping in. We got the perfect summer day, so put me in your plans. You know that this doesn't happen every day, so everybody clap your hands. Cause when we raise on high, every hand in the sky, we're the super fans, feeling grand in the grandstands. Shout it out, make some noise, make it loud, soaking up the lovely weather, everything just comes together. I woke up feeling good today, my journey has begun. I gotta give a shout out to the green grass and the sun. It's a long way off, a tricky shot, but I know it can be done. Another day, another game, another hole in one. Yeah, we got the perfect summer day, so put me in your plans. You know that this doesn't happen every day, so everybody clap your hands. Cause when we raise on high, every hand in the sky, we're the super fans, feeling grand in the grandstands. Shout it out, make some noise, make it loud, soaking up the lovely weather, everything just comes together. Lift them up, all the hands, all at once, we're the super fans, feeling grand in the grandstands. And keep them there, all the hands in the air, we're wishing it could last forever, baby, put your hands together. The weather's just so fine, wish I could bottle time. Cause if you only pause, you'll hear the crowd applaud. They're cheering for you now, stand up and take a bow. You know that you deserve it, today is picture perfect. Raise on high, every hand in the sky, we're the super fans, feeling grand in the grandstands. Shout it out, make some noise, make it loud, soaking up the lovely weather, everything just comes together. Clap our hands, clap our hands, clap our hands, we're the super fans, feeling grand in the grandstands. Clap our hands, clap our hands, clap our hands, we're wishing it could last forever, baby, put your hands together. That's why we clap our hands. That's why we clap our hands.